Hello again, my most amazing artists. Today we are looking at the artwork of an artist known as Yayoi Kusama. I hope that you enjoy looking at her polka dot filled work and creating some of your own inspired by her today. Let's check out what we're making. Today we are going to be creating some pumpkins inspired by Yayoi Kusama's work. And in order to do that, I'm going to show you here just a few ways that we can draw pumpkins, okay? Some pumpkins are very, very tall. Some are very, very chunky. Some are skinny. Some are funky, like they could be really rounded or they could have bumps. So you want to think about what kind of pumpkin you want to start with. And then I just started here with an oval, okay? And after that, I'm going to draw some C shapes that are about the same size, maybe a little bit skinnier, and then another one that's even skinnier than that, and it's okay if they are not exactly the same on all sides. And then I would add stem. That's a pretty large one. You could probably make it smaller, and you could think about adding tendrils and things like that. What I want you to realize, though, is that pumpkins can be very, very tall, or they could be very, very wide. Okay, and depending on what kind of pumpkin you want to make depends on what way you're going to turn your paper today. Okay, I would do this with pencil first if I were you, but today I'm going to use a Sharpie just so that you can see what I'm working on really well. You're going to get one of these 12 by 18 pieces of paper that are pretty bright, and we're going to start in the middle. I want you to think first, do you want your pumpkin to be tall, or do you want it to be a little bit more squatty? I think I'm going to make mine side to side like this. I'm going to start in the center by drawing a great big oval, leaving enough room at the top to create a stem. Okay. After that, I'm going to come out on the outside edges, draw that C shape, and as I work my way outward, they're going to get skinnier. Like such. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I make that great big C shape to start with, and then maybe make a few more, like so. Okay, I don't have to have a specific number of these. You just don't want to stretch it so far out that it doesn't look like it could be a real pumpkin. And then I'm going to draw a stem up here, and your stem doesn't have to look like my stem, but my stem is going to look like this. And it's going to have a little oval here to make it look a little bit more realistic. I might even add a little spiral or something inside there. Okay, after this, I am going to cut out my pumpkin. If I think I need some extra shapes back here or something, I could add them. For now, I'm going to close my Sharpie. I'm going to get out some scissors and cut out my pumpkin right up against that edge. When you're finished, please make sure that all of this scrap paper ends up in the scrap bin and not into the trash. Please don't crumple it up. Okay, now that all of those steps are finished, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to consider how I'm going to create this pumpkin to look more like Yayoi Kusama's work. So in her pumpkins, we see a lot of polka dots. And in order to do that, I'm going to use these two tools. I'm going to use a Sharpie marker, and I'm going to use this bingo dauber that's going to make some nice polka dots with some India ink. Now, if you brush your hand through this India ink or you get it on your clothes, it is not going to come off. It is ink. It is permanent. So be careful. I'm going to twist this cap open and set it to the side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my centermost one, and I'm just going to touch my paper. I do not have to squeeze the bottle. I'm just going to touch and create polka dots going up through the center of my design, okay? And I'm going to try to follow that same curvature of those C shapes right up through the center of each one of these. And if you end up off the edge a little bit, like right there, that's okay. Just watch out for that on your mat. Okay. Now for now, I'm going to set this mat aside because it does have some ink on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we're going to finish this up. Okay. For starters, I'm going to create some texture right along my stem. And I'm going to do that by creating some wiggly, loose lines. Do not push hard on your Sharpie when you're doing this. And just kind of wiggle up the stem. These lines do not need to be perfectly straight. You could even add some rings if you wanted to make it look a little bit more vine-like. Okay, after this step is completed, I'm going to come back and I'm going to create some more dots on my design that are a little smaller, working my way up. I've completed a row on either side of slightly medium dots. I'm going to come back and make some even smaller dots on each edge. Again, I am following that curvature from the top to the bottom. Notice these are very evenly spaced. I'm going to follow this pattern in every section of my pumpkin until it is all filled in. So I go from my largest dots to my medium dots, slightly smaller and teeny tiny. Okay, after you have finished filling in each section of dots, you can come back if you would like and you can create in between dots or any other variety of polka dots that you would like. But I think that this is just a very simple and effective way. We see this a lot in Yayoi Kusama's work. But I think that the different sizes create a lot of variety in our work and make a very interesting pumpkin to look at that is a little bit different than a traditional, say, a jack-o'-lantern or just a typical old orange pumpkin that we might make. We're going to put these up on display anywhere that we would like within our school building. When you're finished, it's really important that you put your name and art club, if you're, or whatever class it is that you're in, on the back. Okay? And I hope you have a lot of fun creating your own Yayoi Kusama pumpkins. Have fun, amazing artists!